The British Prime Minister appointed a Minister of Loneliness today. The new role will tackle solitude in the UK, where more than 1 in 10 people feel isolated. Natasha Fatah is here to explain, so walk us through today's interesting announcement.
Well, Andrew, as though Theresa May didn't have enough on her plate, she decided today's the day she's going to announce who's going to pick up the responsibility of leading the Commission on Loneliness. And she's picked a Conservative politician, an MP who's been in Parliament for the past 8 years now, Tracy Crouch. And now this woman is going to be responsible for a multi-million-pound fund that's going to pull together a project working with government officials, working with businesses and charities and hospitals and schools, trying to address the issue of loneliness, which the government acknowledges is rampant throughout the UK, but really around the world. And they want to take this very seriously and address it and come up with programs. This was initially the pet project of Jo Cox, a Labour MP who unfortunately lost her life in a very violent altercation. She was gunned down just before the Brexit referendum. And she's the one that initially started this program, brought to the federal government's attention that loneliness is a major issue, needs to be taken seriously from a mental health perspective, a general health perspective, and so she led the initial commission on it. Unfortunately, Jo Cox is no longer with us, and we weren't really sure how this was going to move forward, but now Tracy Crouch has said she's going to take this on. She's received a lot of comments from folks online saying they're happy that this is moving forward. She addressed Jo Cox specifically in her Facebook posting. Let's bring up part of what she had to say, mentioning Jo herself recognized the scale of the problem, and for the first time, we will measure it beyond the advanced metrics in place. She goes on to say that she is privileged to be the one that takes the lead on this project. So Tracy Crouch giving a little bit of recognition to her slain colleague, Jo Cox.
So just how serious of a problem is this?
Well, both of these women say that it's fairly serious. Now, Jo Cox was able to complete the initial report in 2016, and what it found is that at least 9 million people in the UK manage some intense degree of loneliness, a sense of isolation. And so how does that manifest itself? Well, some studies have found that it's as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. One American study said it's as dangerous as being clinically obese. It's very tough on your health. If you're a senior citizen and you're lonely, well, you might be going for days, if not weeks, without any sort of social interaction. So all of that breaks down not only those social connections, but also your ability to get help, ask for help. There have been other bits of research that have been stated by the BBC indicating that a third of first-time mothers feel extreme isolation that manifests then into some form of depression, mental health concerns. In Canada, we've done a study about university students, first-year university students. 66% of them feel extremely lonely. And so this isn't just a social crisis. The point here for everyone is that it is a health crisis that becomes a cost issue. And so at least in the UK, they're taking it seriously to help prevent it becoming a greater concern.
All right. Thanks, Natasha.
You're welcome.
Now, one of the groups that grew out of the Jo Cox Commission on Loneliness is called Age UK. It offers services to UK seniors. Mervyn Kohler works with Age UK and says he is delighted to see someone appointed as Minister of Loneliness because it's a major issue. And he joins me now from London, along with Ruth Bamber, who is Development Manager with Possibilities Home Share, and Doreen Fairclough, who's a home sharer. Ruth and Doreen are in Haywood, England. Hello to you all. Nice to see you all. So, Mervyn, first of all, your organisation, Age UK, has been calling for the government to take major steps to address the problem of loneliness in Britain. What do you make of the news of today's appointment of a Minister of Loneliness?
It's a very promising start, Andrew. The issue, as your introductory bit described, is actually a major one, and it is growing. We have something like 12% of our over 65-year-old population who say to surveys that they are persistently or chronically lonely. And we've got about 3% of our population who don't see friends or families for more than a few weeks, at several intervals over a few weeks. I mean, this is really serious stuff. And loneliness is bad for your health. We know that. It very quickly leads on to a certain amount of self-neglect. People don't actually feel the zest to get up in the morning and get up and going. They neglect themselves. They begin to suffer from depression. They begin to suffer from mental illness. It's a lose-lose situation all round. And we've got to do something about it.
And Ruth, let me ask you, because you work a lot with the elderly who are affected by loneliness to help them fight it. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do and the impact that it's having?
Yeah, my job as the development manager for Possibilities Home Share is to find people like Doreen who live on their own and have a spare room and could be one of the people that don't go and see family for weeks and weeks on end, or simply don't have any family or friends, like in Doreen's situation. We then safely match them with people who are looking for accommodation and who can be there and provide companionship and some social support to them for a minimum of 10 hours per week in return for reduced accommodation.
And isn't that interesting? What a great idea. So Doreen, you're one of the people who are using Home Share. You're 79, you're living with a 23-year-old. Why did you decide to do that?
Why did you decide to Home Share?
Because I was on my own and I didn't like it. And now that I've got Lucille, I've got someone to talk to, someone to share the meals with, and a companion to go out with.
And so, Ruth, tell me what that's been like.
Yeah, it's been really lovely to see. The first time I met Doreen, she didn't go out on her own to the shops. She was fairly lonely, and she spent all her life caring for family who have been ill or sick. And now it comes for the time for Doreen to need someone to support her. There isn't anyone left. So for us to be able to watch Doreen with Lucille now, go out to the shops, go to the cinema, and to really enjoy time, we ring Doreen now and she's often too busy to speak to us, which is a great thing, and we couldn't have achieved anything better with them.
And Doreen, tell me a little bit about what it's been like to Home Share with Lucille. What do you do together?
So what's it like with Lucille? What do you do together?
We go shopping, we go to the cinema, we went to a pantomime at Christmas, and we also go to the market, and we go shopping.
This is a really nice story, Ruth. You must see success stories like Doreen's all the time. So how does it feel when you hear that, when she basically doesn't even have time to talk to you?
It's great. That's what we want from this Home Share project. Our aim is to find as many people like Doreen and support and help as many people as we can. The umbrella organisation Home Share UK makes sure that we have coverage across the UK, and Age UK is one of our partnerships. We're funded by the Big Lottery and Lloyds Bank Foundation. So we have a lot of knowledge and experience to draw on and support in finding older people. All we can hope now is this commissioning's come across, and now the people are in place in Parliament and in government are listening about loneliness, is that Home Share will grow and grow and become a more option.
And Mervyn, with the new minister, what do you think should be their top priority in combating loneliness in the UK? Is there a certain societal responsibility? Should people be spending more time thinking about people who are lonely, who may want to have those meaningful human interactions that they're just not getting?
Yes, so that's absolutely right. And the scheme that we run, a befriending scheme, invites volunteers to step forward and say that they will actually contact somebody via the telephone on X number of occasions over a week, over a fortnight, whatever it might be. And that is a really energizing experience, both for the volunteers and for the people whom they are befriending. And we want to see more of that. We want to see more befriending visits. We want to see more schemes where people can actually get together and meet face to face. These things, I hope, will be enabled by the new minister and the focus that the government is putting on this issue, which is a really serious problem and seems to be growing year by year.
And Doreen, let me just ask you, was there a moment when you realized, I'm feeling a little lonely? It would be nice to have someone to have dinner with, to go to a movie with, to go shopping with.
When did you realise you were lonely?
When I realised I was lonely when my mother and my brother died, and I had no one else, so it was all on my own, and I didn't like it.
You didn't like it, and so what made you think you need to do something about it?
What made you think you needed to do something about it?
Oh, I have a carer, and she asked me would I like someone to live with me, and I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I will take you to Sherwell, and I'll introduce you to Ruth and Matilda. And then they talked to me about home share, and I said, yes, I want to do it.
Well, Doreen, you sound like somebody that would be an absolute pleasure to spend some time with. I want to thank you very much. And Ruth just passed that on to Doreen for me afterwards. Thank you all very much. So that's Mervyn Kohler is a policy advisor with Age UK. Ruth Bamber is a development manager with Possibilities Home Share. And the lovely Doreen Fairclough is a home sharer. They join me from Britain.